All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, May 17th. We got a jam-packed slate of MLB games that we're going to jump into. We'll go through each and every game. We'll talk about the game. I'll give you my thoughts on the games. I'll give you my lean or leans on the games, but all my final plays, what I actually roll with myself tonight, those will be located in the pinned comment, and I update that throughout the day. So if you're looking for what I'm actually rolling with, just keep an eye on that pinned comment, guys. We're coming off of a winning night. We do go 3-3, but the Brewers came in clutch here. For plus 158, they end up getting the dub. I told you guys I was crazy for taking the Brewers again. I guess I'm not that crazy. Sometimes the psycho alert alarm plays kind of work out here. So again, 3-3, but we did hit 2 plus money plays. Miami Marlins money line minus 155. I really did like that, but obviously look at the odds. Then we lost the Pirates, Guardians, and Cubs. And this Pirates team, I'm so done with. I told you guys I think they're fake. I thought yesterday may have been a good spot for them. No. See you later, Pirates. We hit the Brewers for plus 158, and then the Giants money line for plus 100 was a hit as well. So yes, we do go 500 in terms of a 3-3 record last night, but the two wins that we like to see were the Giants and the Brewers there for some plus money. So we shall take it, guys. And then in terms of our ride of the day, our ride of the day also comes through as well. Coming in from Kemin Alexander. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but shout out to KA here. Boston Red Sox, hashtag ride of the day. They end up getting the dub as well. Guys, if you do want to be the ride of the day, all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day in the comments, and I'll be jumping on board with one person's pick, and you guys get a shout out in the next video, win or loss. You get the cheers, you get the celebration if you do get it right, but you have to face the womp womp if you do end up getting it wrong. So, play at your own risk. But guys, drop that hashtag ride of the day in the comments. And before we get to the video, I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about Outlier, guys. I've been talking about Outlier plenty on the channel, but I did want to give a little demo right away. I like to switch it up about how I talk to you guys about this. So let's head over and look at the Outlier screen on the desktop version as of right now. And you can see this is the games tab. So we can go through this and see all the trends in the market right now for these games. So for example, one thing that jumps out to me is that the Padres in 10 games here, right, have not had a game that's gone over 9 runs. This one that's gray means last game it did end on 9 runs, which makes sense. These two teams played the same teams there, but this is a very, very cool sheet. You can also see where the public is betting and where the money is overall as well for all of these games. You can head in and dig into the games as well, look at alternate spread, the win margin, the lineups, how they are versus that pitcher, the pitching stats, all that good stuff. Very, very good research tool. And what's really cool, guys, is Outlier has this trending page for insights here, and you can see it goes through and finds any plays that are available on FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM, Caesars, or that's it, yeah, those major 4. So you can kind of come in here and say, okay, look at this. This is like they're identifying trends for you. You don't have to do the dirty work. So for example, Marcus Semien has exceeded 0.5 hits in 13 of his last 14 games after a loss. That is good to know. If we wanted to dig into it more, we can click this and kind of head in and say, okay, well, he's also exceeded that in 9 of his last 10 games. This looks pretty damn good here. If we wanted to put this best odds right now over on DraftKings, you can click this and look, with no hands, it is going to go find that pick on DraftKings, add it to your bet slip, and you can get to betting $1 million on that play because it is a good play. All right, guys, Outlier is a very, very cool tool for both player props and game picks. If you want to do your own heavy lifting, they have all player props in here as well that you can dig into. So that is Outlier, guys. I did want to talk to you guys about it before we do jump into the video. 7-day free trial. That link is in the pinned comment as well as the description. And let's go ahead and get to these damn games. All right, we are starting it off with the Detroit Tigers taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. This game ends in a 4-0 win for the Tigers yesterday, and we bet on the Pirates as our final play, and I'm almost still just like happy that the Pirates lost because, again, I don't believe in this team. They started off hot, and now I think they clearly are what they are. Again, they started off hot, now they're 22-20. They're not that good of a team. When they were playing well, and everyone's like, where did this Pirates success come from? They hadn't played anyone that was over like 500 baseball yet. But on the mound for the Tigers today, Eduardo Rodriguez, 4-2 with a 1.57 ERA, under a 1 whip as well. In his last couple starts, he's been really good. 0 earned runs through 8 innings and then 7 innings with a whip of .38 and .86. He has been dealing 3 straight wins as well. And then Rich Hill's on the mound for the Pirates, who obviously can be serviceable, but they've lost in his last 2 starts. He has 1 loss during that time as well. He's only pitching, 3 to 5 innings as of right now. I'm going to lean towards the better pitcher and the team that got the win yesterday in the Tigers. Now, minus 160, those odds aren't all that great. You can actually get minus 155 over on DraftKings as of right now. But nonetheless, I don't love those odds, but I do think it's a good spot. I do think it's still worth pulling the trigger on. So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we do end up making this a final play. But I wish this was more like what we had, yesterday in terms of odds and whatnot, which was Detroit minus 120-ish. But again, Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound, he is dealing, so makes a little bit of sense here. Then we have a total of 7.5 runs. Now, I like the pitching on the mound today, especially on the Tiger side of things. It makes me think that this goes under. But because it's 7.5, you could have a really good game. Eduardo Rodriguez can only let up like 3 runs through, 6-7 innings and have a decent game. Yes, a little bit worse than how he has been pitching, but nonetheless, still a decent game, a quality game, and the Pirates can go out there and let up 5 runs easily. We can hit an over here while we still don't score like a crazy volume of runs, right? So I'm going to lean towards the over just because that is such a low number. I don't expect the Pirates to score 0 runs again, but that being said, they're averaging like 2 runs a game over their last 10 games. So it is really tough to see that offense out there. So I'm going to lean towards the over. Might be a crazy play. I do like the Tigers as my main lean in this game for sure. All right, we got the Rockies hosting the Reds, and I've told you guys, this is by far my least favorite series that we have going on right now. Right now, the Rockies, minus 115 at home on the money line, total sitting at 11.5. Yesterday's game, Cincinnati wins in a 3-1 fashion. On the mound for the Rockies today is Gomber, 3-4 with a 6.3 ERA. Ashcraft on the mound for the Reds, 2-1 with a 3.95 ERA. The Reds are actually underdogs in this one. I like Ashcraft on the mound. Don't necessarily, I don't know. I'm kind of confused by this line because this Reds team, they've been slight underdogs. Yesterday, they were favorites in the first game. Now you see Ashcraft on the mound, who I would say is having a good year, obviously. Definitely better than Gomber to start the year here. Again, Ashcraft is 2-1 with a 3.95 ERA. His last couple starts here, he hasn't been doing that well, which kind of makes sense. But the team has won 2 of his last 3 starts. He just has no decisions other than 1 loss in those starts. So I kind of get it. He got beat around. Was it 2 or 3 starts ago where he only pitched like 2 innings? But I look for a little bounce back form here, so I'm going to lean towards Cincinnati on the money line for plus 100 odds over on DraftKings as of right now. And then we have a total of 11.5. You guys know the direction I'm going in here. I love pulling the trigger on these unders, definitely for leans. Yes, these Colorado games are eventually, or not even eventually, but the science makes sense why the ball travels farther and there's a higher score, right? I understand it, but you still got to hit the bat on the ball, and I don't trust these offenses to be totally consistent. Definitely not the Rockies, who are going to play half their games at home. So I'm leaning towards the under here. We'll see if it becomes final play. Keep an eye on the pinned comment. But again, this isn't my favorite series at all. I do like Ashcraft in a bounce back spot, though, which kind of can be terrifying saying out loud, but I do trust it. All right, Dodgers and Twins. Minnesota getting the win last night. They win 5-1. Clayton Kershaw started for the Dodgers yesterday, and the Twins still get the win in dominating fashion too. 5-1. On the mound today for the Dodgers, Dustin May, 4-1 with a 2.68 ERA. We have Sonny Gray on the mound for the Twins, 4-0 with a 1.39 ERA. And I do think that this is going to be somewhat of a pitcher's duel. Again, I told you guys I was very excited about this series, and it's kind of lived up to the hype so far. Game 1 goes to LA, 9-8. Game 2 goes to Minnesota, 5-1. You got good pitchers on both sides of this. Right now, LA is minus 133. Actually, that's minus 135. That's slightly out of date. Best odds right now are minus 140 over on Caesars. I do think a lot of people are going to be on the LA side of things, but I think the money in the smart pick here is going to be Minnesota, similar to what I talked about yesterday, right? When I said I'm not paying those odds. I think LA finished at longer than minus 200 odds there. I think it was like minus 2 something on the money line yesterday. And I was like, why would you consider that? You know what I mean? Minnesota could easily, they're a good team. They could easily win this game, and you already invested in that minus 200 on the Dodgers side of things. Didn't seem like it was worth it to me, right? This is a similar spot. Now, it's only minus 140 right now, and you do have 2 good pitchers on the mound, but nonetheless, I still look at this from the same perspective of, I don't think minus 140 is worth it for the Dodgers. That ROI, that return on investment, is not there here. So I'm going to lean towards Minnesota. Both teams are playing good baseball. Minnesota has won 5 of the last 7 games, and you know, the Dodgers obviously playing really well. They've won 8 of their last 10, but that plus 125 on FanDuel for Minnesota is a bit tempting there, and I don't hate Minnesota plus 1.5 on the run line either for around minus 150. A lot of odds to be paid there, but I do think that could be a close game. And using outlier as well, you can see the percent of bets is all over the Dodgers, so the public is on the Dodgers, but the money, 97% of the money. So somebody with a big wallet likes Minnesota today. So I think I'm going to follow the money there. I'm going to lean towards Minnesota. Then we're looking at the total here. I like the under. I think 8.5 is just a little bit too high for the quality of pitching here. Now, I'm not taking away from the offenses whatsoever. I don't want to make it into that, but I do think that the quality of pitching here is way too, I guess, good in terms of what we have on both sides to make that 8.5. I would have even probably liked this under if it was at like 8 or maybe 7.5. I think that's what we could have seen. So maybe Vegas knows something we don't know, and the books know something we don't know, because with these 2 pitchers, they still set it at 8.5. But nonetheless, I do like the under. All right, Oakland A's taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I knew it. I knew something was weird yesterday about this line. Oakland gets the win. I guess not surprisingly to a bunch of you guys in the comments, Oakland wins 9-8, but I did see a bunch of comments, so thank you guys for kind of digging even deeper and just talking about how Oakland batted against left-handers, which the Diamondbacks trotted out yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, today, Oakland plus 140, updated odds here on the money line. Medina's on the mound for them, 0-2 with an 8.18 ERA. Ryan Nelson on the mound for the Diamondbacks, 1-2 with a 6.20 ERA. He hasn't been all that great. He's not pitching deep into the games. In his last 3 starts here too, 4 innings pitched, 5 innings pitched, and 4.2 innings pitched. I don't think that we can necessarily trust him, so I'm going to kind of chalk this game away. I think these odds are fair, minus 160 on the money line for Arizona. I just don't totally love this altogether, so, I rarely do this, guys, but I don't necessarily like what I'm seeing from this game, so probably going to chalk this one away in terms of a side. I don't think that Oakland pulls this one out, and I think minus 160 on the money line for Arizona is a little bit too much of a risk here. So what I'm actually going to look at is the over 9.5 runs. I don't think either of these pitchers are obviously stellar, and I think that we can get to them. And getting 10 runs here in this one shouldn't be all that hard, especially when we see 9-8 last game. Hopefully Oakland's bats still feel pretty, I guess good, and Arizona can continue to do their thing, because Arizona has kind of heated up their offense. They've scored at least 5 runs in 4 of their last 5 games. They've scored 7+ runs in 3 of their last 5 games. So hopefully the bats stay hot for them and make this over an easy hit. But keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if this does become a final play. I don't really love this spot all that much, if I'm being completely honest, and you guys know I like to stay honest with you guys. All right, the Giants come through for us yesterday as they take on the Phillies today. Last night's score was 4-3. The Giants get that win. They've won both games in this series already, 6-3 and then 4-3 now. They're underdogs yet again. We don't have the updated lines on the graphics. Again, guys, if you're new, we take these graphics. We get up super early to do these videos. Sometimes the lines aren't out or even official for some of these games, so we take the graphics and the screenshots, which are the graphics you guys see, and we don't have them all the way updated. So I'll just inform you guys that right now over on FanDuel, the Giants are plus 102, and then the total is sitting at 9.5 right now. I'm going to lean towards the Giants again. I think they do have the number, and I don't like Taijuan Walker. He's pitching for the Phillies today. Ross Stripling's on the mound for the Giants. I hate that, and I don't really trust that. And not from a skill, I guess from a skill perspective. He's not pitching deep into games either. Walker has been the better pitcher this season. I think they've won both of his last starts. He has 1 win and 1 no decision in that. So I'm slightly leaning towards the Giants. I doubt this becomes the final play. If anything, I could look at this over 9.5 and pull the trigger on it. Now, that's not because I think that these pitchers are going to hold these offenses down. It's more or less because we've seen a lot of inconsistency as of late. 1, from the Giants side of things, and then 2, this Phillies team, yes, they can go out there and score 6-7 runs, but they can also drop a 2-run game. They've scored 3 runs both games in the series. San Francisco has been a little bit more, on the offensive end here, successful, but I don't think either of these offenses are kind of ready to be able to, guarantee a 10+ type game from a total perspective. So I'm going to lean towards the under. All right, Padres looking to bounce back here. They get the loss yesterday against Kansas City. Kansas City wins that one 5-4. The Padres have now only won 2 of their last 10 games. They're minus 230 on the money line here in this one as Yu Darvish takes the mound. He's 2-2 with a 3.16. Hernandez on the mound for the Royals, who I can admit I don't know all that much about. He's 0-1 this season with a 4.5 ERA, and I can't even find his last 3 starts of this season. So in terms of stats, I'm looking at it really quick. I didn't spend that much time on this game, obviously, because I don't really love it odds-wise, but I don't know much about Hernandez. Probably going to lean San Diego in some sort of a, if we were to throw it into some sort of parlay, which if we do, that'll be in the pinned comment as a parlay. What I do like, again, is going to be the under in this game, continuing to cash this under 9.5 here. Yesterday, it ended at 8, and I think the line finished at 8.5. They finished at 9 runs. Could have easily been an under game, but from an under perspective, both of these teams at 9.5, these teams have only hit that 3 times in their last 10 games independently, so I like the under here. Baltimore hosting the Angels here. Baltimore minus 145 on the money line here at home. I've seen minus 130s across some sports books as well, so keep an eye out on Odd Shop for the best odds. The total sitting at 9 runs. I have a weird play in this game. I'm actually going to look at the team total for the Orioles in this one versus anything else. I think the Orioles do get this one done. I don't mind that whatsoever, but I'm kind of going to look at this and say, okay, you know what? I like the fact that this Orioles team is kind of getting it going. I believe their team total right now, you can get over 4.5 runs for minus 109 over on FanDuel. And if you look at what this pitcher has done, by the way, on the mound for the Angels, Griffin Canning, he's 2-1 with a 6.38 ERA. But if you take a peek at what he's been doing as of late, you wouldn't really say it has been all that dominant here. In his last 3 starts here, he's pitched 3.2 innings. So 3 innings and 2/3, whatever, right? 5 innings and 5 innings, and he's let up 5 earned runs, 5 earned runs, and then 3 earned runs. The most recent ones were the 5 earned runs. So if, even through 5 innings, this Orioles team, who the bats have been pretty decent, right, can get to him. I do like that. So keep an eye on that if I do end up rolling with Orioles over 4.5 team runs here for team total. Then I also like the over 9 in this one as well. So I'm going to lean Baltimore on the money line. Like I said, I'm going to lean towards their team total. So their team run line, team run scored, total runs, and then also take a peek at that over 9 runs here. I do like this spot. I think at least one of those, has like an 80% chance of being a final play. We'll keep an eye on the pinned comment, obviously, but I do think that this is a good spot for, kind of picking your spots with the Orioles. Next game up, we have Miami taking on Washington. Miami getting the win for us too. Final play yesterday. They win that one 5-4. Game 2 of this series. I think it's going to be a little bit different though. I'm actually going to be taking a peek at the Nationals in this one. Now, they've been super up and down. Win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. But they lost yesterday, so they're due for a win. Mackenzie Gore on the mound for him. 3.29 ERA with a 3-2 record here. And what I'm looking at is his last couple starts here. So he's pitched 6 innings in his second most recent start, right? 2 earned runs there. The whip 1.5, but he had 9 strikeouts. And then against the Mets in his last start, 4 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. Again, the whip very high, but nonetheless, I do think he's getting the job done. They're not scoring for him. He's not getting much run support whatsoever, so hopefully that's different today when you see Cabrera out here on the mound for the Miami Marlins here. 5.35 ERA. He's not pitching deep into games whatsoever either. For some plus money, I am going to like myself some Washington on the money line at plus 112 over on FanDuel right now. I really do like them on the run line as well, even looking at yesterday's game, right? Miami takes that win, but they make it a close game, 4-5 there in the loss. And then I also like the over here as well. Like I said, I think this is a good opportunity for, I guess you could say, Washington to put up some runs. I think Miami is going to get to, put up, 4 runs at the very least. Maybe. And you do also have some wind blowing out to left field there in Miami as well. Meteorologist Ev, can't even speak right now, always ready for duty. So I'm going to lean towards Washington and the over in this one. How about them Yankees? Big underdogs in both of these games so far. They're plus 130 in game 1. They win that 7-4. Plus 155 yesterday, and they win that one 6-3. This Toronto team has been pretty damn inconsistent as of late. And it's funny, they go in pockets of playing well, and then obviously pockets of playing poorly here. On the money line today, though, they're plus 107 odds on the money line. Total is sitting at 8.5 runs. That's a little outdated. 8 runs. I was looking at the wrong thing. Bassett's on the mound for the Blue Jays, 5-2 with a 3.49 ERA. But who's on the mound for the Yankees, the Shankies? We got Garrett Cole on the mound here. He's 5-0 7-0 with a 2.22 ERA. I do like the Yankees in this spot. They are slight favorites at -116, but if they're winning as these underdogs with, not the best pitchers on the mound, I think Cole kind of returns to form here. He actually hasn't been that great in his last couple starts. Only 5 innings pitched in each of them. A 2 whip against Tampa Bay round 1, and then round 2 a 1.4 whip, and then he had 6 and then 4 strikeouts. So I think that against this Toronto Blue Jays team, a team that we know is going to try and swing, and if the more you swing, the more you can swing and miss, obviously too, right? I think that he's going to really get to them today. So I like Garrett Cole. I know his strikeout line is going to be huge, but I don't hate that either on this one. And then in terms of a total 8 runs, these Yankees teams have been putting up too many runs to ignore. 7 runs, 6 runs. I know the pitching for both teams right now is good on the mound today, but the Yankees have covered over 8 runs in games that they've played in 10 straight games. Then you look at Toronto, they've done it in 3 straight games. So I'm a little indifferent to the over, but I am going to slightly lean in that direction. I don't consider the under here just because of the offenses. I don't care who's on the mound. I could be on the mound throwing 115 with a crazy curveball too. And I don't think that I would take the under in this game just because the offense of the Yankees seems like they're starting to click. And Toronto, as we saw last series against Atlanta, they had a couple games of 5, 6 runs too, which would make up more than half of this total. Here we go, Red Sox. Here we go. Red Sox taking on the Mariners. They're -115 favorites here at home. Total sitting at 9.5 runs. They get the W yesterday, and Brian Bayo on the mound for them today is 2-1 with a 5.01 ERA. Marco Gonzalez on the mound for the Mariners, 3-0 with a 4.42 ERA in his last few starts. If we go back to his last 3, they've won in all 3 games. He only has 1 win and 2 no decisions there, but he's pitched 6 innings, 3 innings, 1 in terms of, most recent to least recent of these last 3, 2 earned runs, 3 earned runs, 5 earned runs, 1 whip, 1.5 whip, and 3 whip with a 2, 4, and 2 strikeout line there as well. Brian Bayos obviously starting to pitch a little bit better. Didn't start the year all that great, but his last couple starts, he's actually looked pretty good. I'd say his last 3 starts. So Cleveland, that game finishes 8-7. He went 5 innings with 1 earned run and 6 strikeouts. Then he goes up against Toronto, 11-5 win for the team. He pitched 5 innings of 2 earned run baseball at a 1.4 whip with 5 Ks. And then against Atlanta, this was shocking one, 5-2 final score. He pitched 6 innings, and those are the only 2 runs Atlanta scored. 2 earned runs during those 6 innings with a 1.17 whip and a 5 strikeout performance. This Red Sox team, I do think, can get hot, and maybe we're starting to see them heat up just a little bit as they take this 1 win against Seattle. Outside of that, they've only won 2 of their last 8 games, but I'm going to trust Brian Bayo right now. He has been pitching well over his last few starts here. So has Marco Gonzalez. I'm not trying to knock that, but I do think that, being at home, and we're following the money here, a lot of money is on the Red Sox, where a lot more of the percent of bets are on Seattle in, comparison there. So I like the Red Sox on the money line. And then in terms of a total, we're looking at 9.5 runs. This is tough because obviously you have pitchers, 2 good pitchers, and I would say good pitchers right now. Definitely the way that they are pitching as of right now. And this is a 9.5. That's a decently high total. I don't like the under, but I also am kind of afraid of the over. So we might be skipping out on this total altogether. The Red Sox have hit this in 3 straight games. Seattle has hit the over here on this line in 2 straight games as well. So that's promising, but nonetheless, I do think the pitching on the mound today is a factor. I think the fact that, we've seen both of these teams either, show up or nothing. Like they're either putting nut up or shut up, right? They've either nutted up or shut up. No one's doing both or any sort of hybrid of both. So I think I'm going to stick away from the total. Long-winded answer of saying that. I apologize for wasting my breath. Mets taking on Tampa Bay. Mets -110, slight favorites at home here. Total is at 9 runs as of right now. And why? Why were we not pulling the trigger on Tampa Bay yesterday at +140? Because Beeks was on the mound, I guess, but they win that game 8-5. On the mound today for the Mets, you have Senga. He's 4-2 with a 4.14 ERA. Fleming on the mound for the Rays. He's got a 4.26 ERA. In terms of weather, you have serious winds blowing over to right field, 16 miles an hour. So I'm going to kind of look at that and say, okay, maybe a couple balls can get popped up over to right field there. I do like the over nonetheless. It's 9 runs right now. Tampa Bay in their games have hit this in 5 straight games, and New York has hit it in 3 straight. And even looking at the first 2 games of, the most recent game of this series, 8-5. Then you look at Tampa Bay, their last offensive outputs, last 5 offensive outputs were 8 runs, 5 runs, 8 runs, 8 runs, and 8 runs. So they're covering pretty damn near close to 8 runs themselves in their last few here. I do like them as underdogs again today. Some still was fishy. Like yesterday I said it was a little fishy that they were such severe underdogs, and I get it. I understand it comes down to pitching, but nonetheless this offense still is crazy. So I'm going to lean towards Tampa Bay on the money line, and then like I said, a slight lean towards the over. All right, guys, I'm going to do it. If you guys are still watching right now, drop a 24 in the comments. 2, 4. Let me know if you guys are still watching. You guys are truly the real ones. And yeah, I like doing this because I like to, not to get on a rant here, I'll be mindful of your time. I do like to do this because I love to pay attention to the names that are commenting on the channel, right? I read pretty much every comment. I like to heart the comments, respond to the ones that, you know, I deem should be like responded to and whatnot, especially if you guys are asking questions and whatnot. I love getting familiar with recurring comments and recurring people that check out the videos, right? So this is my way of seeing who the real ones are. So comment 24 right now, guys. And I'm starting to notice these names that are, you know, people that every time I'm deep in a video and say, hey, comment if you're still watching, and you guys do comment that means so much to me. What I love more than that, which is funny because it is a funny thing, is when someone's like, we get a decent amount of these every time we do this. It's like, why is everyone commenting 24? What's going on here? Why is people commenting 24? I always just comment like the if you know, you know, or the eye emojis, because that means that person doesn't go to the end of the video, right? They're just going through the comments, seeing what people are saying, probably just checking out my pinned comment, which, you know, the format here is kind of funny. I put all my plays in the pinned comment, and then it's like, why do you even watch the video? Well, people that watch the video are going to enjoy watching the video, right? So, guys, I do appreciate you guys if you are still watching. Not to get all sappy on you, but seriously, you guys are the reason why I do this. The ones that actually care about what we're talking about, win or loss, having a good time, entertaining, all that stuff. So make sure to drop a 24 in the comments. Let's get back to baseball. I understand that's why you're here, but let's go ahead and look at this next game. We got St. Louis taking on Milwaukee. Milwaukee getting a 3-2 win yesterday. They are underdogs here. St. Louis is plus 104, or sorry, Cardinals are plus 104 underdogs at home on the money line. Liberatore, I think I'm saying his name correctly, is on the mound for the Cardinals, and Corbin Burns on the mound for the Brewers. I might be psycho again, but I like the Brewers in this spot. I think that maybe they return to, I guess, winning baseball here, and I do think that obviously pitching played a huge part in yesterday's win, considering the fact that it was, you know, they held the Cardinals down to 2 runs, but nonetheless, I do think that they can get to Liberatore, who even last year didn't have the most, you know, the craziest of years, and we're coming off a good starter, a few good starts, I would say, from Burns. He's pitched 6 innings in each of his last 3 games, 1 earned run, 2 earned run, 1 earned run, and his highest whip was 1.17, and he's had a 7-5-5 strikeout game in his last 3 here. So I do like that for the pitching reasons, and again, the Vegas odds kind of reacted to that. They're only minus 115 here as underdogs, so I like that. We're looking at a total of 8 runs. I don't know what to make of this. First game was 18-1, right? Second game 3-2. I'm skipping this total. I do apologize, but my only lean on this game is going to be Milwaukee on the money line. Texas Rangers taking on the Atlanta Braves, and what I said about this series seems to be standing true here. I think this is going to be a good series here. Obviously, you know, Atlanta getting a huge win night 1, 12-0. Texas bounces back yesterday on the back of Dunning, who pitched 6 innings there. 7-4 was the final score here. Evaldi's on the mound for them today, 5-2 with a 2.7 ERA. And you're like, oh my God, why are we not taking Texas, you know, at plus 145? Well, Spencer Strider's on the mound for the Braves, 4-1 with a 2.51 ERA. This total is at 7.5, okay? I like the under. I like the under, even though these teams can put up a million runs at any given moment. But if you look at the way these pitchers have been pitching, it is kind of crazy. Evaldi is dealing. The least amount of innings he's pitched in his last 3 starts is 8 innings, and the most amount of runs he's let up is 0. In his last 3 starts, he's gotten a win in each of these games. He is dealing, and it's not like they were playing Joe Schmoes. He did have a great start, 8 1/3 pitched against the Oakland A's with 12 strikeouts, but that's the A's. Okay, fine. Well, once you look back at that, okay, against on the May 6th, he pitched against the Angels, and then on April 29th, he pitched against the Yankees. He has been absolutely dealing, guys. I really cannot clearly say enough about him. Ever since, I guess, I forget who he pitched against. He didn't have the best 6 innings. Like, it was like 5 earned runs or whatever. He didn't look all that great, but then you flash back and look at, or flash forward and look at this. He has been dealing. So I'm actually going to ride the hot hand here. I'm going to look at Texas plus 1.5 though. I want the safety net. Still getting minus 125 odds here. If this was not Spencer Strider on the other side of things, I don't think that I would be looking at, Texas plus 1.5. I'd be looking at them on the money line for some serious plus money. But Spencer Strider still is a dominant dynamite pitcher as well. And a strikeout king in over his last 3 for sure too. 12, 10, and 8 strikeouts. So I do think that, that's factoring into my brain, which is why I want that safety net of plus 1.5. But I like the under, like I said. So plus 1.5 in an under 7.5 game seems like if the stars align, that is a pretty good spot for it. So that's the way that I'm leaning, guys. I'm really excited to watch this game as well. I feel like this season, I've had a good pulse for this Guardians team. When we've bet against them, we've been right. When we've bet on them, more often than not, we've been right. Yesterday was kind of surprising to me. Lance Lynn took them out against Shane Bieber, and the White Sox went 8-3. So a little shocking to me. Right now, this is pretty much a pick 'em across sportsbooks. Minus 106 on FanDuel, minus 105 on FanDuel. Then Cleveland's minus 105 on DraftKings. Pretty much a pick 'em, okay? On the mound for the White Sox, Clevenger, he's got a 4.79 ERA. Battenfield on the mound for the Guardians, 0-4 with a 4.45 ERA. The only thing I would say about him that I don't think he's getting enough credit for here is his last 3 starts. He's averaging like 0.3 runs for in terms of how many runs they are scoring as a team when he started. So I think that that's impacting this line a little bit. I look for Cleveland to bounce back today. Again, I consider myself being able to, pick these spots for Cleveland pretty well this season. Yesterday was terrible. If we get it wrong again today, then we might have to start thinking about some things. But I do think this is a clear-cut spot for Cleveland. I wouldn't even consider White Sox. In terms of the total, I do like the under. Again, Battenfield's, I don't think he's getting, the rap that he deserves here. If anything, Cleveland's going to go out and break this under by himself or by themselves. But Battenfield, I do think, has been pitching in low-scoring games. I don't mind this whatsoever, guys. All right, our next game, and I should definitely put this as a vote in the comments. Should I stop betting on the Cubs? I continue to pull the trigger on the Cubs because I know they're better than the way they've been playing. You're getting such good value here at plus 136 yet again, but they've lost 4 straight games. They've lost 7 of their last 10. They're not playing good baseball. Now, they have had a tough schedule. Miami, St. Louis, Minnesota, the Dodgers, they've had a tough schedule. Now playing the Astros. It isn't the easiest of schedules, obviously. They lose 7-3 yesterday. France on the mound for the Astros. He's 1-0 with a .77 ERA. Only 2 starts this season. His first start was 5 runs, 5 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. Second start, 6 1/3 or 6.2 with 1 earned run and a below 0.6 whip. Only 3 strikeouts as well. He's pitching well. You have Drew Smyly on the mound for the Cubs, who, is no stranger to success himself. Max amount of runs he's let up in his last few starts here is 2 earned runs. Not striking out that many. I think it's going to be a good game. I like the under here just because of the pitching on the mound, and you have some wind blowing right into the batter's face. Obviously, if it gets bad, they retract the stadium, but I doubt that they will. And I think, I'm going to fade myself. I want to lean towards the Cubs here, money line, but I'm just sticking away from this. I don't like Houston for +1 or minus 155. I don't think that that's worth it because I do think that the Cubs can win this game. Obviously, I've been riding the Cubs in the last couple of weeks here, and I'm starting to get sore, but I do think that this is a good spot for the Cubs. But also, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I could see that Houston could win this game easily. They're playing good baseball, winning 6 of their last 7 games. So I'm fading myself and keeping the Cubs off the final play slip today. But I do like that total, obviously, guys, the under there. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video, guys. Hope you guys do enjoy. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Obviously, we are continually growing, and that is all thanks to you guys. I cannot thank you guys enough, and I really do appreciate it each and every day. So that's all I got for you guys today. I'll catch you guys in the next video, all right? Peace out.